Welcome to Ural of New England and AlphaCars. This is Dimitri, and we're going to check out two really cool bikes side by side. And one is going to be a single-wheel drive CT, and another one is going to be a gear-up. Both are custom bikes, which means they have special features and options ordered from the factory. And we're going to look at them side by side to hopefully answer the question, which one should I buy? Should it be a gear up? Do I need a two-wheel drive? Or should I get a CT? That's a very, very common question that we get asked when people contact us. And before we get into the technical answers to this question, the quick answer would be, it doesn't matter which Ural you will buy, you're going to have an enormous amount of fun, you're going to make a lot of friends, and you're going to make a lot of people smile, and you're going to have a lot of fun on the road, even if you buy an older Ural. But obviously, the newer Urals, the generation from 2019 and newer, are absolutely amazing bikes. So let's get started. And the reason we're starting to look at the two bikes side by side from the rear is because that's where you see the two-wheel drive. The two-wheel drive system on the gear up looks like this. Final drive, engageable two-wheel drive, solid axle. It is on demand, and you only engage it on the road surfaces with a low traction situation. You need for the wheels to slip to make up the difference in the speed. Here's the CT, really clean setup, classic bike with a sidecar, and of course it's still as heavy duty as it gets. There's not a better setup being produced than a Ural, but it does not have two-wheel drive, and so it's nice to have. Two-wheel drive is a really nice feature. When would you use it? Of course, mud, snow, ice, wet grass. If you're going uphill and it's a wet grass, it is really, really handy to get into two-wheel drive. Going over rocks, if you need to climb that curb, that's very handy. And a number of other applications, like let's say you need to cross a river. That would be awesome. Of course, you need to worry about the depth of the water, but assuming that's going to be fine, that two-wheel drive is going to be awesome. On the beach, on the sand, that's all good. Not to say that a single-wheel drive CT cannot be used on dirt roads, in the field, and even a little bit of off-road. You can always get off the bike, go on the side of the bike in first gear, and just walk the bike and push it a little bit in those really tough areas. So you can definitely do some reasonable off-roading with a single-wheel drive CT. And like everything, there are pros and cons. Look at the height, the ground clearance of the gear up. Of course, you need that clearance because if you're going to, first of all, we need that clearance to clear the drive shaft under the sidecar, and then obviously the more clearance you have for off-road vehicle, the better off you are. Here is the CT. Without getting into specs, it is noticeably lower. If it is lower, it has lower center of gravity, which means you're better off for the on-road operation. In other words, when you're taking turns, yes, this bike, the CT, will handle better. If you slow down in the same turn, it will handle just as good in the gear up. So it's just a fine balance that you as a rider choose when you operate a motorcycle, and especially a motorcycle with a sidecar. There are a number of other differences in the accessories that certain things come or do not come with the gear up or with the CT, and we're not going to get in that because these are custom bikes, and there are a number of things installed on each one of these bikes that are not included in a standard configuration CT or the gear up. For example, This particular gear up, not to mention it has a gorgeous color combination. It has classic retro lighting. Check this out. Look at them side by side. I love it. It is something actually that we started to do here at Ural of New England, and then we convinced the factory to make this available as an option. It is a hard to get option for us as a dealer. Ural does not always have these light kits available, but when they do, we always order them this way, and if they don't, we have our own kits that we fabricate, and they're always available on our accessory website, uralne.com. Yeah, if you look at the fender lights, this is the standard light, and this is the retro light. Check that out. Both bikes have gas tanks with knee grips and with the tool kit, with the tool compartment or the glove box compartment. There's a cute little key that you can insert right here and open the compartment. There's a nice little seal around. It is not a properly watertight compartment, but it definitely, if there are splashes of water, it will not get in there. And, well, let's mention a few things that Gear Up comes with that the CT doesn't, because sometimes if you want all these accessories on your next Ural, you may want to go for the Gear Up, because if you install all these accessories on the CT, it may get as expensive as the Gear Up, and then you ask yourself a question, would I just buy the Gear Up? And then if the ground clearance and having the two-wheel drive is not a problem for you, absolutely. If you are a speed demon, if there is such a thing when it comes to Urals, but if you want to go with, if you really want to hug those turns and do the absolutely best a Ural with the sidecar will deliver as far as the speed and the bike handling, you may want to consider a CT just because of its lower center of gravity. It also comes standard with a more road-like tires. They're still heavy-duty tires, but they obviously have a better tread for just a highway operation. And of course, the CT, another contributing factor to its lower ground clearance, the CT does have 18-inch wheels. That's a big deal. The Gear Up has 19-inch wheels, which is great for the off-road, and they come standard on the Gear Up. The CT is 18-inch wheels right here. The drivetrain is absolutely the same. The Gear Up comes with the front bumper mounted LED driving lights. It comes with a folding shovel, with a spare wheel, and with a rack mounted over the spare wheel. Fuel canister is standard on the Gear Up. The CT, on the other hand, comes standard with a 2/3 seat like this, and it comes with the low sidecar windshield. Check this out. Both bikes have power distribution panels in the sidecar tub, so that's all the same. The power outlet is there for 12 volts, and there's a switch. Let's check out a few extras that each bike has on top of the standard features. For example, let's start with the Gear Up. We have the glove box, we have in the gas tank, we have retro lighting, we have gorgeous two-tone paint job with a custom color. That is one of the most attractive features in this bike. We have a black powder-coated drivetrain, which includes engine, transmission, and final drive. If you put your hand on the gear up and you feel textured surface for about maybe 2 or 3 inches down below, and then you look down and you see that wraps the whole underbody of the sidecar tub, and then you look under the fenders and you see similar texture. That means there's another cool option on a Ural motorcycle, which is undercoating on all 3 fenders and on the sidecar tub. Another feature that this bike has, it is the interior of the sidecar tub and the cargo area of the tub is lined with a spray-on liner before it was painted at the factory. So this bike has that. Also, the gear up comes standard with a touch-up kit, a touch-up paint kit, and extensive and comprehensive toolkit. I love these toolkits because you can actually, they're quality metal. They're really good quality metal, and you can do pretty much all the maintenance tasks on the Ural with these tools. Of course, if you have a big tool set, you'd be better off with some specialty extensions and ratchets. And here's the owner's manual. And for those of you that work on your own bikes, this is huge. And Ural does a great job with putting together an owner's manual which lines up with Ural owners' expectations. It has everything from electrical diagram, from the procedures on how systems operate, and procedures how to maintain the bike, how to service the bike. And speaking of maintenance and service, bikes are very reliable, but if you get in the situation where the check engine light is on, like sometimes it is on your car, and you have to take it in to plug it in, Ural has a blink code with the sequence of engaging, turning on certain switches. You can put it in the display mode and it will flash the code, and then you go to this chart and you can look up which component is malfunctioning. Here are your relays, fuses, how to change bulbs. A motorcycle alignment is right here. So these manuals, I call them a shop manual. This is a lot more than the owner's manual. Look at it. Operation of the wheel bearings, hubs, spokes, tricks, tools and tricks. This is a great, great book. We love it. And our technicians use it, of course. They know it now, but they still reference that book. So let's look at what we have with the CT. The CT, we have the toolkit, we have touch-up, and we have the owner's manual. Both bikes have the floor mat in the back. As far as this CT goes, it does have some extras and it has some goodies. So while the color is a standard color, and this particular bike, while 20 and 21s are the same, this one is 2020, and we're offering it with additional savings. So definitely check it out if it's still available. And I love this color, and it's great that Ural offers it as a standard non-premium color. You don't have to pay extra for this gorgeous olive drab color. So it does have the gas tank with the toolbox and knee grips. It has the black drivetrain. Yes, it does have the undercoating on the fenders and on the sidecar tub. So that's an awesome feature. I love that. And it also has the interior of the tub and the cargo area spray lined. The windshield is standard. Yeah, I think this is pretty much it. And every bike that we set up, we install at no charge the trickle charger and 12-volt power outlets. So
you can actually plug in your 12-volt gear or the trickle charger if you're storing your bike and you just want to maintain the battery. It's tough to do it with one hand. So, yeah, all set. Yeah, we do it on all the bikes, and as you can see, it is wired into the battery. Here's the fuse box. Here's the diagnostic connector where you can plug in the laptop with the Ural software. And as you can see, I took it off effortlessly, and some of you may think, Jesus, maybe it will fall off just as effortless. Well, it doesn't. It's a really simple, these spring-loaded C-clamps. They hold it on. We've never had people report lost side panels. They stay on. They're not going anywhere. Obviously, if you did not latch it in all the way, something may happen, but we have not had those reports. So side by side, as you can see, bikes look very similar, except for, again, ground clearance. If we start both bikes, they're going to sound both the same. Should you install a 2-in-1 exhaust on a CT, one of the main purposes of the 2-in-1 exhaust is to gain the additional clearance for off-roading. That's one of the reasons. Another very good reason is just the look and sound. So for that good reason, you can certainly do it on the CT, and they look awesome. They look absolutely awesome. We've done a number of bikes that way, and they sound great, and they look great. So yes, you can do that. That's a common question, and the answer is yes, you can do that. You can install 2-in-1 exhaust, and you're going to love it. Pretty much a lot of accessories that you can install on the gear up, you can install on the CT and vice versa. So hopefully we answered all your questions, but if we didn't, contact us through our website, alphacars.com, AlphaCars.com, or simply give us a call at 978-263-9000. Thank you very much for viewing this video. We hope that you liked it. Subscribe to the channel and mark the video as liked. Thank you.